What is going on, everybody? It is Big Time Brownie, the coach of the Green Bay Yampers, here for IPL Weekly, episode 2 for season 6. We're in season 6, right? Today I am joined by Richie, the coach of the Granville Goomies, and Matt, the coach of the Toledo Team Rockets. Before we get into today's episode, I do want to apologize for missing last week. Unfortunately, I had some audio issues, so I couldn't upload that. But we'll maybe touch on last week's matches a little bit. We'll just tell you the scores, and then we'll move on to, or I guess 2 weeks ago it would be now. Gosh, time. Well, I guess we'll start with that. Wow, I have a great host. So in week 1, the Chicago Gramples took on the Bayern Munchlax and lost 3-0. The London Lanterns lost to the Granville Goomies 0-0. Very exciting match. Go ahead and check that replay out. The Toledo Team Rockets lost to the Hollywood Haluchas 0-2. I don't know why I'm saying the teams that lost first, but that's just the way I'm reading it. And yeah, exactly.
It's how the world feels right now.
Exactly. And then the Green Bay Yampers, yours truly, lost to the Milwaukee Mewers 0-1. You can find the replays in the doc, which will be linked in the description below. Also, we have recorded a few of the matches. I'm probably going to upload the ones in bulk next week, and then we'll continue to move forward during the week. Last couple of weeks have gotten away from me. But so that happened a while ago, so we don't have any real analysis, but any takeaways from week 1, maybe? I don't know.
I was very, very rusty in general as far as just my knowledge of what Pokemon is right now, coming into this new season, and I got kind of a crash course from Jared and Steven while we looked at my team together, and they helped me kind of just be aware of stuff like heavy duty boots and all this really metagame changing stuff that has happened. So I think that I didn't play that game super solidly, but I had gotten just enough of an edge from that sort of crash course that I pulled it out and learned a lot with a nice little exchange where Incineroar's Intimidate was just enough to prevent itself from dying to Earthquake, lived at 1%, and then Flare Blitzed to win.
Yeah, that was one of the more exciting matches that I had seen in a long time. Honestly, my takeaway, sorry, man, but my takeaway from week 1 was how well Jared played. I really was not expecting that. Go ahead.
For some reason, I've actually looked back, I traditionally I think I've beaten Jared once in the history of the IPL. I struggle with him almost as much as I struggle with Steven for whatever reason. Even when he's not playing all that well in a particular season. But
he's definitely that guy in the class who's oh, I didn't even study for this exam, and then goes and beats you. But
ironically, he's also that person in just his life. He's that person who didn't study for I know.
Makes sense.
For 3 years.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're right, though. I think he has been underestimated, which is weird because, he won the first season of the league. He's one of the 2 champions we have. So, yeah. But he played excellently against you, man. I think he didn't really make a wrong move. So that's hard to beat when you're in that situation. So that was week 1. Pretty exciting. Week 2, I would say probably less exciting overall. But why don't we get into each match individually? So the Hollywood Haluchas played the Bayern Munchlax, and for this week it was all everyone played teams within their own division. I was about to try to use inter and intra, and I couldn't remember which one was which. So
this would be this one was intra division.
Isn't inter within?
International is between separate nations. So
right. That's what I always thought, and then okay.
It's garbage. English sucks.
All right. That makes sense to me, so I'm glad it is that way. Anyway, so yes, Bayern Munchlax took on the Hollywood Haluchas, and both teams were 1-1, and Bayern Munchlax ended up winning 2-0. So Obstagoon ends up probably the headliner in this one, getting 5 kills, taking its kill total to 7, or should I say faint well, faint total to 7, which yeah,
Kill is fine.
which launches it into first place. But what were your guys' takeaways from this match?
Man, there was a lot of really solid play from both sides, but there was one pivotal turn very early on. I think it was turn 6 or something like that, where Aegislash predicts a switch. Um, uh, Obviously could outspeed and kill Obstagoon without even thinking about it with whatever the fighting type move it has is.
It can do close
combat.
Secret Sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can do Secret Sword as well.
But Steven kind of read him to filth and didn't switch out, and then Aegislash used a move that did not affect Obstagoon, and Obstagoon used knockoff, which just destroyed Aegislash. So that was very pivotal, and I was pretty impressed with how Jared managed to claw back as far as he did. 0-2 is not a shameful defeat.
No, yeah, I think Scorch continuously getting paralyzed sort of kept him in the match, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I to me my biggest takeaway was Steven, week 1 it seemed like he didn't struggle. He ended up winning 3-0, but
yeah,
it
definitely the widest victory of that entire week. In the league,
right, exactly. But I felt like he wasn't up to his full form, and this week I felt like he played pretty well, and sort of navigated the hacks and was able to come out on top. So, and I think really the biggest thing for when we all battle Steven is we all get into our heads too much, and we try to overpredict and make the exact right move when
he has a lot of psychic power.
Right. Go ahead, Matt.
Steven also plays like, I think of all of us, plays probably the most like balanced play style. Like
for sure.
Some like Sahil obviously with his team this year is kind of like obviously with his core is kind of more defensive based. Steven's always like kind of just like he can just kind of freely switch in between like some of the things he got. He can just wall you, and then eventually just like you slip up because you don't make the correct switch, and he's got
you just have to be so strong thing. You have to be so patient, and it's easy to lose your patience.
Exactly. And he does seem to have the knack to pick the right time to make his reads, and that's why he's been so successful in this league and on the ladder. So yeah, overall a great match. They'll play each other again because you guys those guys are both in the Kanto conference. But also a pretty big match for. It's only week 2, so nothing is must win. But to be able to go to at least to tie for the top of the conference, it's big. It's a big deal. So, any other lasting thoughts from this match? Kurt Vileplume, man, Vileplume. I was not expecting it to do as much work as it did.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was a good match, and it was one of 3 normal matches that we had this week.
Okay, listen. But yeah, my only other takeaway is that like Primarina continues to like do some real good work. Especially like behind those screens.
It is, yeah.
Behind Grimstar screens, it just like it can kind of just sit back for a while and just like hit things surprisingly hard.
Right. Well, and speed matters so much less than it used to. Or I should say having high speed or having low speed is less detrimental than it used to be.
Yeah, thank God for me.
Yeah, I know, seriously. So Primarina is able to do just a ton of damage, and Jared's his team is very well constructed, and he's able to switch around. So, yeah, great match, you guys. Those guys. All right, so let's move on to the second Kanto match. The Granville Gilmies, Richie, beats the Milwaukee Mewers 3-0. So why don't you talk a little bit about your match, Richie? You can give us the breakdown.
Yeah, for sure. I felt that this week I felt like I was able to play a bit more solidly than the first week, but it was a great game. It came down to Sahil very very graciously and sportsmanlikely not trying to do a PP stall because he had Toxapex, which I couldn't hurt, and his Toxapex couldn't hurt any of my things at the end. So it was good. I feel like the reason that there are 2 real reasons that I felt well positioned in this game. One is that Sahil's tier 1 Pokemon are Ferrothorn and Toxapex.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, my team overall's biggest weakness is probably that the speed stats on my Pokemon are just low.
Right.
So the fact that I, despite that detriment, had the speed edge over the two most prominent Pokemon on that team, and the fact that on Reuniclus, one of my tier 3 Pokemon was had such a good matchup against both Toxapex and Ferrothorn. Um, uh, I think that sort of gave me the edge that I needed this week.
Yeah, I was sort of talking to Sahil about his team, and
Mm-hmm.
I just I don't know if it's worth it to have two walls like that as your tier 1 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think this a match like this is a great illustration as to why. It's because I mean
Mm-hmm.
he got outstalled by lower tier Pokemon,
Yeah.
which is exactly what you don't want to happen. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I guess he didn't make any. Did he make any changes this week? Um, I no, he did not. But I think it'll be interesting to see going forward if he does make any changes. I think I don't know. I think it would have been hard for Sahil to have won that match.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way it went. I do think he scalded a couple of times when he just shouldn't have.
Yeah. Scalding into water absorb, and also I didn't. This didn't really register with me until after the match, but a full 5 of my 6 Pokemon were immune to on the ground entry hazards. Um, because I had Incineroar and Avalugg wearing heavy duty boots, and I had 2 Pokemon with Magic Guard, and then I had Drifblim, who was, in the end, evidently just there to soak up some Flare Blitz recoil.
Right. So wait, if that's the case, why did you have Rapid Spin?
That's what I was
Be-
about to ask.
Honestly, it was an oversight. I mean, I guess maybe Stealth Rock would have treated me a little bit
Yeah, I was
worse.
gonna say he could have
Right.
thrown rocks on that. Or not Toxapex, the other one, Ferrothorn. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, I didn't. It didn't really register with me that I was so immune to entry hazards.
Right. I mean, you can always get
Magic
knocked
Guard,
off.
Magic Guard is one hell of an ability too.
It's a fantastic ability. Yeah, I think I remember talking about one of the things was to, if you get a layer of spikes up or rocks up, it can be useful to ascertain what item you do have or what ability
Mm-hmm.
you do have because uh, both your Mons, both Clefable and Reuniclus have abilities outside of Magic Guard that are viable. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
I do, yeah. Each week there's only been 2 of them so far, but I do ponder whether I want to do Regenerator or Magic Guard with Reuniclus. I mean, I obviously didn't bring Reuniclus week 1, but
right.
you know,
No, yeah.
but yeah, a lot of passive kills this game.
Right.
It was weird in that way. I think I actually I fainted Pokemon with damage dealing moves twice during this game,
Mm-hmm.
and then there were two deaths to recoil, one to Skull Burn, and then one to Stealth Rock.
Wow. Exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Yeah. No. Yeah. Matt, did you want to? Sorry, feel like I cut you off at some point, but did you want to say something or?
no, you're fine. I mean, just looking at, I mean, like you could kind of tell that this is going to be just looking at the Pokemon coming in. This is going to be kind of a bit more of a long, drawn-out match, and I think like a lot of Sahil's games are going to go like this as long as he keeps that core.
Yeah. Agreed.
He definitely is like I said, he's got obviously that's a strong defensive core. I mean, this game was really obvious, but I think Hex might be the bigger weakness here for him, just because
You think
like,
so?
Ferrothorn at least has. I mean, like the thing is, like Ferrothorn has like, I mean, its attack between like its actual stat and like Gyro Ball is like significant. Like it's not like
That's
nothing.
true.
And it has Power Whip, and a couple other like random covered moves that it could theoretically run, I guess. But Toxapex, like, unless you're burning things or poisoning them, like it just can't do a whole lot.
Right.
And pivoting, like all the pivoting around between walls and like things that can hit hard is fine, but I think like especially like things get worn down. Like he has a lot of recoil stuff and things like that, and without any like true cleric,
Right.
it's hard for him to pull as many switches off as he could otherwise.
Right.
Things maybe could have been different if he'd been able to status Seismitoad. But
Yeah.
just the fact that his Toxapex could literally only heal my Seismitoad was
Right.
problematic.
Right. Well, I guess for me, it's always like Toxapex gets recovery, which I value. I think there's like things with Ferrothorn with similar typings to Ferrothorn that could do a lot of work with his team. I feel like I think Sahil, I think he tends to make the mistake of not drafting Pokemons that sort of fit his playstyle. He likes balance a lot, but I think I don't know, I just feel like he needs more offensive pressure on his team.
Yeah.
And, every OU team, like, you need 1 or 2 Pokemon to check Ferrothorn and or Toxapex. But when you know for sure that opponent is going to bring both of those mons, every single Pokemon can check him. And so they sort of lose their value, and they lose their value in terms of being pivots because they're no longer pivots when every Pokemon has a move for you,
Right.
or moves for you. So
it honestly, this struggle might just be an artifact of the fact that in the draft he took 2 tier 1 Pokemon with his first 2 picks, probably without doing the math for what picks that left him with for the rest of his points.
Right. But, I mean, he does, you have 5 free agency tokens, and there's a lot you can do there. There's a lot of Pokemon sitting there with, type it. Like, I think, if he were to drop Ferrothorn and, like, a tier 5 Pokemon and pick up, like, Delmise and Bisharp or something.
Yeah.
Like,
there are so many Pokemon that are free agents in tiers 1 and 2. You can really change your entire core.
Exactly. Any other thoughts about this match?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Cool. And of course, both of those teams were also 1-0. Every team in the Kanto Conference was 1-0 going into week 2. Now, going into the other conference, the Galar Conference.
Yes.
Someone's got their sound effects on.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Let's talk about the blowout first. Everyone was 0-1 in the Galar Conference going into this week, and the Toledo Team Rockets took on the Chicago Grand Bulls and ended up with a 6-0 victory, courtesy
in
9 turns. Yes, courtesy of Necrozma. So, Matt, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what are we going to talk about here, but go ahead.
I mean, there's really not much to say. Looking at what Akash did last week, like, his team was a very, like, he built it hyper offense, like, his movesets were all, like, everything was a setup sweeper, so I pretty much just built something to kind of play around that, like, just set up things a little bit faster than he would, so, I had planned on just, like, I think I did this once against Uni Hall, like, last year, where I just led Necrozma, like, had plans to, like, set up rocks and then just, like, hit things as hard as I could and then die. That was my plan, but then, like, he led Rhyperior, and I was like, well, this thing is, like, a little bit of an actual, like, problem for my team, so I might as well just, like, kill it now. And then, like, he didn't attack, like, he kind of, like, prioritized rocks a little too much and didn't attack the thing in front of him, and that was pretty much it. Like, set up, and then Necrozma is still incredibly strong and difficult to kill, so it just didn't go well.
So, one thing I was wondering is the did the berries get a nerf in this gen?
They did. They only heal 1/3 of your health.
Right.
Which is a pretty significant nerf. Necrozma loved those because, like, it's so hard to, like, OHKO it that so many things just put it in that, like, in that range for berries to activate. And I did literally, like, I literally used Calm Mind on that one turn just because I knew it would put me in bear range and give me just a little bit more health just to be cheeky, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Once I took out the Rhyperior, I knew that whatever happens, like, I was probably going to be okay. Like, that Pokemon was low-key a problem for the team that I brought.
I didn't really feel like a 9-turn 6-0 was happening to me until Toxicroak used Sucker Punch and failed into your Autotomize. Then I was like, okay, here we go.
I think that's actually low key like something that I'm like randomly like good at in just general Pokemon. For whatever reason, I'm really good at playing around Sucker Punch. Like I have no idea why. But it's
I feel the same way, Matt. I feel the same way because like people, yeah, you can get people to sort of you can play with people.
Yeah. It ends up being like a 50-50 a lot of times, but you just
right.
Season 2 Richie with Bisharp as one of the stars does not like the sound of that. I had to play those mind games quite a bit.
Yeah. No,
that was a fun set and a fun team.
Gosh dang it, stupid sound effects.
I I was excited to see because you brought Rapidash, which I love Rapidash, so I was excited to see that potentially, but we didn't get to see it. Next time, we'll.
I mean, I was ready with it. I had lots of fun sets in this. I won't reveal all of them just in case like I end up bringing some of them later. But you did correctly predict that I had Solar Blade on Rapidash.
When I typed that, I realized, he might bring that next time. But
I mean,
you know what?
It's fine.
All of my sets are on YouTube, so you guys can.
It doesn't. I mean, it'll be whatever. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this game. Like, it went obviously pretty well for me, but yeah. if you watch it, it's just pretty.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like this is gonna be replaying like 3 times while we talk. So I'll put it on really slow.
And the thing about Necrozma is it just has so many different ways to do that.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
It picked up Dragon Dance this generation, so it's gonna be interesting to see how people try to prepare for that.
Yeah. See, like Akash, he has no counters to this mon. So I mean, on his team.
Yeah.
Like he has literally 0 counters.
No dark type stab or anything.
Yeah, no dark type. I believe only 1 resistance to psychic. So.
Jesus.
And Mawile doesn't really count as a resistance.
Exactly.
Special attacker.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
especially one with Earth Power. So or Heat Wave.
I feel like defensively and offensively, it's so important to have a dark type at least available.
100%.
I think about this from sometimes when I try to do some kind of funky setup set with Reuniclus, I always worry that I'm gonna, run into a dark type counter that I just can't do damage to. So I'll run some stupid setup moves and then like Signal Beam or something just to guarantee that I do some damage.
Signal
right.
Beam. Necrozma gets both that and X Scissor.
Okay, so. Yeah. I mean, Necrozma just gets the whole book, huh?
I mean, a little bit. It has like a bunch of like moves that aren't necessarily like the best, but it's like just enough. Like it doesn't get Flamethrower, but it gets Heat Wave, and like stuff like that. Like it doesn't. Like,
isn't Heat Wave stronger than Flamethrower?
I mean, yeah, but like
less strong than Fire Blast.
Right.
True, but like it really you just kind of care about like, especially because Necrozma's always like boosting the shit out of everything. You just kind of want like that like 5% or whatever of accuracy is like,
right.
an issue.
I had the second pick in a draft tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure I'm taking Necrozma. So, thank you, Matt.
Honestly, it's so much fun to play with.
It seems like it. I want to play with it. So, yeah, I guess we're spending a lot of time on this match, but it's good too.
We
don't discriminate.
I get it.
Oh, I guess mine is the final match of the week. So the Green Bay Yampers faced off against the London Lanterns, and the Lanterns ended up winning 1-0. So another 1-0 loss for me, and a good victory for Dion. And I ended up debuting 2 Pokemon that I picked up, Gigalith and Haxorus. But it was a good battle. I mean, honestly, it was a good battle. I think that the turning point in this one, it wasn't really a turning point so much as, I mementoed the Sigilyph. He Ice Beamed my Rotom fan, and I didn't realize that it got Ice Beam. And then I mementoed his Sigilyph and did not think that Ice Beam would still do 58% to my Haxorus. Yeah. But
Sigilyph is kind of sneaky good.
It is, yeah. It is. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I agree. It definitely Sigilyph, like, I think people kind of underestimated, like, it, especially, like, last gen, like, it was kind of, like, known for, like, the slightly like meme
Psycho Shift
yeah, the
or
Psycho Shift team,
Right.
which like is really good on ran bats, but then like it's just like a random thing. But
Right.
it's with I mean, just with a spec setter, just the damage that it can output is surprising to a lot of people, and it gets fairly good coverage, as Nihal realized.
Yes. Yeah, like, so I knew it got Energy Ball and like Heat Wave, but I was not thinking, because my thought was, so I think I was +2 with Rotom, and my thought was, oh, I can live a Psychic and then take out Sigilyph, because once Sigilyph is gone, I sort of win between Excadrill and Haxorus. I win, but unfortunately that was not the case, and ended up losing. I do not think the crit it might have mattered, but I don't think it did. Oh, let me calc that actually, because I forgot that Rotom actually got crit on the Ice Beam. But
also Sigilyph and then of course Zero Aura is just so solid. It just
right.
so reliably. I mean, it has such a wide move pool. It just so reliably goes first and
Right.
does a chunk of damage.
Right.
And I thought he used it pretty well.
He did. I will say, missing that Will-O-Wisp early on the Zero Aura, like if I was able to get that off, I think in the end I still would have been in a position to win with my Chople Berry, but and also I just would have been a lot less scared of Zero Aura, because I feel like I was playing around that with it in the back, which obviously you should do because it's Zero Aura, but yeah.
And then the final piece of the puzzle was that Dion packed priority move in Mach Punch.
Right. Right, and that's really what the Chople Berry was for.
Yeah.
Because you can outspeed Zero Aura in the sand with Excadrill. But yeah, I'm glad I got to bring Dusclops, because that thing has like 511 special defense.
Yeah.
The Dusclops, Dust Noir.
Yeah.
Well.
It did. It's a good mod. It's a decent mod.
With Chansey gone, we have to use Eevee. Right?
Exactly.
I am not excited for Chansey to come back because it gets teleport now.
Oh, is it coming back?
Gross. I mean, I'm assuming it probably will.
They can keep it.
I'd have to look at the element right, but like Wish teleport Clefable on the ladder right now is like the grossest thing.
I hate it.
It's just the worst.
I hate it. Which
I say ugh, but then I literally brought Wish teleport Clefable last week.
Well,
I mean, it's so fun, but it's just gross.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is that, you can't Dry Pass, so it's like really the only Mon. You can't Dry Baton Pass with other Wish Pokemon, so it's really the only Mon that can do that. Like, it makes Sylveon kind of useless, and I don't know.
Until Chansey comes.
Well, exactly. Well, I was using a team in OU that had Clefairy and Clefable.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, that was...
That's kind of miserable.
It was fun. Yeah. I think there was a chance for me. So just going back to this match real quickly, instead of going into Haxorus, if I had gone into Excadrill, there was a chance for me to win by just Rock Sliding and then Earthquaking the other two Pokemon, because I still would have outsped Zero Aura. But I think I would have needed to get a flinch onto the Sigilyph. So.
Oh, okay.
Really, Richie played really well and deserved that victory. But
that was not Richie. That was Dion.
I mean, Dion. Yes, Dion played really well and deserved that. I'm already thinking about tomorrow when I'm gonna lose.
Well last week.
Yeah,
anyway, that's what you'll be saying tomorrow.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Any other thoughts about this match before we move on to roster transactions?
Nope. Solid, good game.
Cool. So I think I might as well just go through all the roster transactions that have happened, just because we didn't have one last week. So the first roster transaction that happened was prior to the week 1 battle. Sahil dropped. Sahil, who's the coach of the Milwaukee Mewers, dropped. We often say the coaches' names as if a random person would know who the hell we're talking about. But he dropped Venusaur for Gardevoir. And then the Lanterns have dropped Roserade, Lantern, and Caparaja, and have picked up Vikavolt, Claydol, and Lucario.
That's just criminal to drop your team namesake like that.
I mean, he already had Milotic and Zeraora, so. But yeah, you're right. And then dropping Caparajo for Lucario is a much better Pokemon, so that's a great move for the Lanterns. Really, Caparajo's probably over tiered, but and then I dropped Bronzong, Roselia, Tyranitar, Mandibuzz, and
Classic
yeah.
car move. Just redo your entire roster.
Yeah, well, I needed to. So initially I dropped Bronzong for Noivern, and then I was like, oh, Haxorus is available, so I dropped Roselia and Tyranitar for Gigalith and Haxorus because Haxorus has 147 attack, which is insane. That's an insane attack stat, and having 97 speed in this generation is fast.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's a really good Pokemon, and then Tyranitar, Gigalith is a Sand Setter. It does, it's a decent Pokemon. And then I realized, I have 2 Dragon types, so I might as well just drop Noivern, and I needed. I really like Rabombi as a sticky web setter, and it also gets a lot of other fun things. And I still need a Dark type for Matt, so I picked up Umbreon and dropped.
Good, yeah. Thank you for telling me what you intend to do with Rabombi. It's really a big brain play to change your whole roster out because now I can't look at replays. I can't guess what you're.
Well, that's why I said sticky web and other fun things because
yes.
sticky web is useless against your team. So.
What you're gonna down.
Yeah, exactly.
Neil's gonna pick up a bunch of Pokemon with Electro Ball.
Yes. Exactly. And I think Umbreon does a lot of what Mandibuzz does, except it can Wish Pass. And so it's still. It's not real. I guess it is a counter to what's it called? Necrozma.
I freaking hate them.
I know you do. I'm sorry, but
the only reason it's because Mayo had it that one season when he was just killing everybody, and that thing was he had Umbreon, and then he would Wish Pass to Kyra Black and just kill them.
God, that sounds terrible. I don't remember that, and I'm glad I don't. But my family's watching Succession, and I can hear the music echoing through the house. Yeah. So, do you guys have any thoughts? I keep on asking you that, but do you guys have any thoughts about the transactions? Well, actually, I did want to talk about Dion's Caparaja for Lucario because Caparaja, it's a tier 2 Pokemon, and in my opinion, I did the tiering, but I think it's definitely over tiered because it has a great HP stat and a great attack stat, but I don't know, Lucario has a nice speed tier. It can be special or physical. It gets Nasty Plot and Swords Dance, and it gets priority on both sides. So
yeah, it was just I faced Caparaja week 1. It was just a little too easy to find answers for.
Exactly. Yeah.
The stats look like they're there, but the fact that Avalugg, who's in tier 5, right?
Is it tier 5? Tier 4.
Tier 4, okay. But yeah, Avalugg was just I could recover out of anything and do whatever I wanted to Caparaja, which has an alleged type advantage.
Right.
That doesn't reflect super well.
Exactly. And, like I said, it gets so much setup. It gets Calm Mind, agility. Hone Claws you never really use, but Power Up Punch, Nasty. Does it not get Nasty Plot? I thought it did.
I think it does.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it does. It gets Recovery now in Life too. I don't know if you'd ever bring that, but also some interesting coverage as well. So I think Lucario is a good Pokemon. I don't know if it's ever been used in our league. I feel like it hasn't been.
I don't think I've seen it.
So
it was very underwhelming in previous generations.
Yeah.
As a whole, with the full Pokédex.
100%. But I am excited to see a Nasty Plot Steel Beam. I really want to see that at some point. Just to see how much that does.
Steel Beam's so great. It's such a fun move.
It is. Go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say I still don't understand how Pokemon get Ice Punch and Thunder Punch, but not Fire Punch. But whatever.
I was gonna say I have kind of a habit of being stubborn with my team roster. I think that I have, over the course of all of our attempted seasons, probably used 10% of my free agency exchange tokens. So who knows if it's right. I'm happy with my team so far, but there are a lot of good Pokemon available. I just I have 5 of them and I don't want to spend my money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, people in our league really don't make changes. It's like just me and Sahil. Well, and Dion, I guess. All the Indians. We're the ones who make changes. I don't know why I said that, but it's just an observation.
I mean, it is technically accurate.
Yeah.
You're the one in this chat who's allowed to, so.
That's very true.
I'm glad of the three of us it was you.
Fair.
It could be worse. Back when we had Cyan on the roster and he brought the same 6 months, the same 6 sets every single week.
I mean,
isn't
that Akash right now?
I mean, he at least, like, I think might have missed this, but, like, Cyan, like, did it for, like, literally an entire season. Like, he didn't change a single thing.
Yeah, no, I remember that, yeah. The Dayton Dratinis, legendary team. No, but, you know, five free agency, like, that is not a lot. And, like, for, you know, if you're in my situation, you pick up a mine and realize you don't want it, like, I mean, that's two. Yeah, that's two.
Yeah.
And, you know, most leagues that I'm in, actually all leagues that I'm in, which is just 2 other leagues, they have a 24-hour grace period after the draft where you can make changes, which I think might be something to look into. Just because, like, you know, that might seem like OP, but also, like, you can't. I mean, the Pokemon that you probably want are gone, so
yeah.
I feel like that might be something to look into. And
24-hour period to recount how many points you get.
Exactly. And you know, trades just don't happen, so you know.
Yeah, everyone's way too greedy to make trades.
It's also just tough to, like, figure out, like, a mutually beneficial trade. Like, you're better off just, like, I mean, you can maybe, like, make requests of things, but a lot of times, like, people just, like, it's hard to find something both that your, like, opponent, or not opponent, I guess, but the other person wants on your team that you also want to drop, and the same thing for them.
Right, exactly.
And someone's always going to benefit slightly more from it.
Right.
And it feels very bad to be on the other end of that.
Right. Well, I remember, I think last year, I managed to get Landorus Therian in a trade. And I was very happy about that. But
Landorus Therian, Chansey.
They're all coming back.
I don't miss them.
Landorus is confirmed coming back. So.
I hate that.
Yeah. Cool. So why don't we talk about week 3? Let's get into some of those matchups. So week 3 will be another intra-conference. Wait, is it inter?
We're inter-conference.
Oh, it's inter this week. It is inter this week. Yes. For some reason, I thought we were playing within our own division this week, but no.
We're reaching across the pond.
Yes, we are reaching across the pond. So every matchup will be Kanto versus Galler. The first match on the slate, on our sheet, rather, I don't know when it's taking place, is the Toledo Team Rockets versus Bayern Munchlax. So, Matt, you're taking on Steven, the big bad Bayern Munchlax. Why don't you talk about how you feel?
I mean, I feel the same way I always feel when playing Steven, which is incredibly oppressed by everything that he does. I mean, he is. That's how I would describe Steven's play style, is oppressive. Like, he just makes things and, like, you try and do funny things to stop it, and he just like inexorably continues on with what he's already doing every single time.
Right.
But I mean, you know, we'll see. I have some kind of plans that are probably just gonna fail miserably. But you know, I try anyways. Like,
yeah, the main reason I feel spooked for you, Matt, is because I mentioned earlier, you know, low tier Pokemon having advantages, having a good matchup with your high tier Pokemon is scary, and Obstagoon obviously has a pretty good matchup against Necrozma, so that's
true.
That inspires some fear.
It's not great, but you know, we move on. We power through it. Obstagoon definitely scares me a lot. Dragapult continues to be annoying because, like, it just makes all of my... Because obviously, like, I play pretty hyper-offensively with, like, a lot of, like, boosting things. And it just messes with all of my speed calculations because it's so annoyingly fast.
Yeah.
But we'll see how things go. Like, when I play, like, you know, like, things that have, like, oh, you know, like, 100 base speed, 110 base speed, like, fine, I can play around that.
Steven played against, like,
things...
quadruple Swords Dance week 1, so...
It's true. But it's just, like, I think, and both Dragapult and Zeraora both have that kind of like there is like a massive gap between those two and the rest of like the viable Pokemon as far as speed tiers. Like enough that like there's a significant chunk of Pokemon that ran like that like would be able to potentially run Choice Scarf, but just still don't outspeed those two.
Right.
But it's, I mean, we'll see. I don't have super high hopes, but that's okay.
Something you touched on is Dragapult speed. I just hate mons that can outspeed like Scarf Pokemon. That's stupid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I honestly though, like I feel like you don't have the worst matchup though. Obviously Dragapult's tough for Necrozma, but I mean, I guess I never know what to talk about here because like I don't want to talk about potential sets before before the match, but I think there are ways for you, there's definitely a path to victory, as a nominee would say. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's winnable. I personally hope you don't win, but yeah. I want to make the playoffs, Matt.
I'm just gonna lose all of my inter-conference matchups and just beat my entire conference.
I mean, that'll get you into the playoffs.
Thoroughly demoralize me.
But I will also be kind of happy if you win because it's you always want Steven to. I usually root against Steven, so.
Steven having like a little bit of humility from losing at least once during the season.
I will say he has, he and I have done 2 streams together in the last like 2 weeks, and I like how Sahil's here just listening. But and honestly, like I've won when we were playing in OU. I've won more matches than he has. I feel like he's in a little bit of a rough stretch of form, so might be something you can take advantage of, Matt.
I hope he's listening on this, and then he's just gonna he's actually just gonna let himself lose to me, and then 6-0 you. That's how.
Hey, he's my GM for the other league. He's in my front office, so he's officially tied to the Green Bay Yampers. But moving on to the next match on the slate is the Green Bay Yampers versus the Granville Goomies.
We're gonna meet.
Yeah, me versus Richie. I'm gonna not say much.
Yeah.
But I hope it's a good match.
I think it will be a good match.
I think so too.
I don't see any big vulnerabilities, on the surface level at least for either of us. So I think it will be I think it'll be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting is you have like a lot of really bulky Pokemon, that hit hard, and I have a lot of Pokemon that hit really hard that have like plus 115 attack or special attack. Mm-hmm. So.
And my little speed chart this week is a little more dire than it was last week. So.
Yeah. It is. It's just a little bit, but Yeah. It'll be interesting because I think, kind of like you alluded to, a lot of the Pokemon can counter each other. Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting some weirdness.
Yeah, I think it honestly, it could come down to just which Pokemon each of us bring.
Yeah.
Which resistance matchups do we end up being present in the match.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, I know. I say that so of course if I lose I can say, oh, it was rock paper scissors at that point. But no, yeah. I mean honestly, yeah, we can't say too much more.
Right. But I think that is only one of 2 games currently scheduled. Is that correct?
I think that's right. Oh boy. People better not.
It's starting. So that's.
I mean, we only have 4 games total to schedule.
Right.
So it's not it's not super difficult.
Right. So this is taking place Friday, April 10th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So that is when the Green Bay Yampers will take on the Granville Goomies.
That's when the Granville Goomies will take on the Green Bay.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I feel like I'm taking you on because I'm 0-2.
I'm just trying to make myself sound like the hero.
I'm just saying my situation is slightly more dire. So, you know. Next up on the slate, I tabbed out a schedule. All right, there we go. The Chicago Grambles are taking on the Hollywood Haluchas. You know, I don't really know what to say about the Grambles at this point. I'm hoping Akash sort of figures it out because he has mons that are threatening. I think he's probably needs to make some changes since he has 3 ice types.
Yeah,
I agree with that. It's an odd choice. He has 3 ice types and 2 water types. So it's just kind of, he's got kind of a weird team. You're right that he does have some threats, but he does have like a lot of like waters. You know, more than one water type isn't like the worst thing in the world. Like,
no, yeah.
He's got a lot of like overlap in places.
For sure.
Weaknesses and things where
For sure. Well, it's yeah, you're really right. It's not the word because I mean, not most of us. I don't think any of us really have like a super strong grass type, and that's the only common weakness for those two.
Yeah, and
strong grass types even exist.
Given that,
I guess you're right. Yeah, Zarude.
Given that Rotom Wash and Keldeo are both pretty decent assets against Aegislash, I wouldn't be surprised to see Vileplume's second appearance this week.
I wonder if we'll see Shedinja. Yeah, I agree. I wonder if we'll see Shedinja. Did you have anything on Necrozma for Shedinja, Matt?
Yeah, Photon Geyser bypasses abilities.
Oh my god!
What a fucking stupid ass move!
It's just like
I hate Necrozma so much.
It's just like Moongeist Beam and Sunsteel Strike. It just ignores it.
Yeah, and well, and
I was actually wondering if he was gonna try and throw that in there as like a theoretical switch in, and I was just like, I'll just leave this Photon Geyser.
Oh, Necrozma. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wait, sorry. Are people putting heavy duty boot on Shedinja now? That's sweet.
Yeah.
That is a pretty common thing to happen.
Yeah.
That's so hype.
Yes. Yeah. You don't immediately just die to a spike. Yeah, no, looking at the matchup, I think Primarina is excellent. And, sort of just kills everything. Obviously, Toxicroak exists, but you can hit it with a Psychic or whatever. I would be excited if we see, Phalanx this week. I kind of want to see that hit the field.
I was going to say, I want to see Phalanx action.
And, that also, he doesn't really have any great counters to that either. So, I could definitely see that coming. Noctowl's a counter. I don't know what Noctowl does. So, yeah. Should be... I would... Well, we'll talk about the last match, then maybe we'll do some game picks. But I would expect Jared to win this one. And, if he doesn't, I would expect a really salty Jared. So... and then the final match on the slate is the London Lanterns taking on the Milwaukee Mewers. Probably might be the most interesting, or one of the battles I'm most interested in this week. Just because I think it's pretty pivotal. I think it's the most pivotal for both teams. I think both teams have a lot on the line this week. Sahil, if he goes 1-2, he risks falling 2 games behind the playoff race. And then, Dion risks, being 1-2 and falling behind Matt. So I'm excited about this one. I think the Mons are interesting. Is a really interesting matchup. I think. See, I mean, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, Sahil's 2 tier 1 walls, they don't really wall Zeraora.
It's just like and what on that team is going to get through like Melodic and even like Vikavolt and stuff.
Right.
There are obviously Pokemon that can do it, but the offensive power. I mean, Darmanitan is a huge asset.
Right. So, Lightning Rod Manectric, like, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
You get your plus special attack and, up to the races, I guess. No, but yeah, I just feel like it's going to be tough for Sahil. I think Sahil has a tough matchup this week. Yeah, because Zero Aura gets access to fire type coverage too. So I mean, that's something.
If he just had some kind of cleric type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gardevoir is the closest because Gardevoir
Yeah.
is a mon that can wish teleport. So
Hmm.
I
It's
mean,
just not quite sturdy enough to
exactly,
live those 2 turns.
exactly. Um, I think Drapion will be big this week. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, what about Matt? Matt, you got any thoughts about this?
Um, I mean, I agree with the whole thing about just like looking at like this is kind of like this kind of displays the issues that Sahil's having with like as far as just like building his rosters now. 'Cause it's not like he's not playing badly by any
Right.
making some good moves, but just kind of where his team building is limited. Like obviously, like Ferrothorn and Toxapex is like one of the better known defensive cores in the entire like metagame, but it kind of like needs a little bit extra that it can get in like an actual OU game versus, but like is not necessarily getting both like even just like you can cover a lot of stuff with just like having a Clefable for
Right.
like defensively and offensively, but like he can't have that with like Gardevoir.
Right.
And so I think he's just struggling to kind of put like a full
Right.
roster together that can really like not only like defend things but like scare the other team.
Right. Well, and like if he goes like defensive Ferrothorn, like modest Vikavolt can 2-ko a Ferrothorn with Bug Buzz,
Yeah.
and like it can obviously 2-hit KO a Toxapex too. And well, and the thing is, because those I don't I'm spending a lot of time with Sahil's team, but if because of those 2 tier 1s, it seems like his sweepers are sort of one dimensional, and like you have the core and Ferrothorn and Toxapex, but if you're gonna Scarf or ban Darmanitan every week, like you get one move and you have to switch out,
Right.
and like
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
I will say I'm excited that Vikavolt is in the league now.
That's a great Pokemon.
That's one that I was considering. It was my favorite addition in just like my casual playthrough of Sun and Moon.
Yeah. I just realized Sahil's only hazard removal is T-Fog Flygon.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Is it really? My gosh.
I do love Flygon.
I think right. There's no other removal.
I think you are right.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
Magicoat,
legit.
Magicoat, Meowstic.
You're not wrong on there. I mean, I suppose he can technically absorb Toxic Spikes with his own Toxic Spikes, but
Right.
who's gonna put Toxic Spikes up against him?
Right.
Like, do we even have any other? I guess we have Drapion, but I don't see any other Toxic Spikes. Anyways, but yeah, like he doesn't have great hazard clearance, which obviously also hinders like,
Garbodor.
especially if he's gonna. I mean, yeah, and like if he's gonna choice everything, then like obviously Darmanitan's gonna take like a core every time it comes in, plus whatever it takes from Flare Blitz, which is exactly what killed it last game.
Right. 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 And I mean, you can't. You could have run heavy duty boots Darmanitan, but like that sort of takes away some of its power.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Sahil has a lot to ponder. I think Haunter is definitely one thing he could drop for something that gets defog, because like he's never gonna bring that. So
Maybe like drop Haunter and one of those tier 1s, and then redistribute the points
right.
somehow. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's listening. Is he still listening? I don't know. Yeah, I guess he is.
So mad at us right now.
Feel free to jump in and defend your honor, Sahil. But yeah, so why don't we do some game picks? So let's start off with the Toledo Team Rockets versus the Bayern Munchlax. Oh, well, I guess I'll start. I'm gonna take Matt with a 1-0 victory. I think the Team Rockets are gonna come out on top and hand the Bayern Munchlax the first loss of the season. I think the Necrozma's gonna do work as always, and I think there are some other Pokemon that I feel like might surprise people.
Yeah.
And do a lot of work.
I think your division pride is just showing. I'm gonna pick Steven I'm gonna say a 2-0 over the Toledo Team Rockets. Sorry, Matt.
I mean, Lord knows I can't be offended by that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I should make a pick on mine. I don't know.
I think you should. I think you should, just because it sets the precedent, so you're not the only one picking the next match. So.
Fair enough. I don't know. It's either gonna be like based on the way the way that I play and the way that Steven plays, it's either gonna be like a 1-0 victory for me or like a 3-0 for Steven. There's no like.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unless you somehow get some crazy sweep off like last week. So
I mean, even if I do, like a lot of my game, like unless I get like a turn 1 sweep, like just the nature of hyper offense is like it's gonna end up being like a 1-0.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if that's. I don't know if a turn 1 sweep is possible against Steven's team.
I don't. I mean, I don't think it is. I mean, there's technically ways that like it could happen, but like whatever. But, like a turn 1, like a turn like where the game is basically decided.
Right.
Which I've had happen before in like other games when I sucked.
Yeah. Fair.
But yeah, that's what I think about my game.
Nice.
So I guess we can do your guys.
Yeah. So let's talk about. Well, we already talked about it, so let's just do predictions. Richie, why don't we start with you? What's your prediction?
My rational prediction is that I think that this match is going to be within, probably within 2-0 to 0-2, and I would love to come away with that. So I'm gonna say, I guess if I'm doubling down on my money here, I'll say that I am gonna come away with a 2-0.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely fair. I will say I'm confident this week. I'm feeling good this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I think I think I'm at that point where I just there's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Which is stupid because I'm 1 game out of first place. But I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm feeling good. I don't want to say anything else.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna say 2-0. I'll take myself in a 2-0 victory.
All right.
I think Matt's got a pick.
This is admittedly like I definitely agree that like this is gonna be a close one. This is gonna be like the match to watch this week. I think I'll hesitantly go Nihal in a 1-0. First of all, because like Nihal's games have all been 1-0. Like
yeah,
it's gonna happen. Like no matter what, like Nihal will be up like 5-1, and then he'll let 4 things die, and then he'll maybe win in a 1-0 or lose 0. That's what's gonna happen. That's just like I'm just predicting how the game is going.
Yeah, I was not expecting Matt to pick me, so thank you.
I'm gonna blame it on division.
Yeah, but Richie, you want your division mates to lose.
I know.
Yeah, it's true. But we'll see. It'll definitely be a close one. I think it'll probably be one of the more interesting games to watch this week.
I really could see one of us like winning like 5-0, like either one of us, like just something setting up and winning. So
he says, and then puts haze on at least one Pokemon.
No comment.
Does he?
Does
he even need? Oh wait, LOL. Never mind. Continue.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the next. Let's talk about the next matchup, which is the last matchup. The London Lanterns and the Milwaukee Mirrors.
There's 2 more.
Oh, there's 2 more.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Right. I was actually going to talk about Dion. Well, let's talk about Dion versus Sahil. Let's talk about the London Lanterns versus the Milwaukee Mirrors. My mic, Jesus Christ, it's falling off the stand. Sorry, guys.
This is really good radio.
Yeah, it's incredible. Well,
Yeah, I don't hear him anymore.
LOL. I mean, do you want to talk about this first while we wait for him to come back on?
Sure. What
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to edit that out. All right, let's talk about the Milwaukee Mirrors versus the London Lanterns. What do you guys think about this one?
I think personally that the Dion London Lanterns has the advantage here. Just
agreed.
Based on just the team matchups that we've been looking at. I think Zeraora just has a really great matchup against this entire team, which admittedly it has a great matchup against just about everything. But
yeah,
it's a particularly good matchup against, I think, the big hitters on Sahil's team.
Agreed. Yeah, I 100% agree with your analysis. I think it's going to be difficult for Sahil to switch into really any of Dion's hard hitters. Like, they all get Earthquake and some sort of fire type coverage. All the physical ones, rather. And yeah, I'm going to take the Lanterns in a 4-0 victory.
I think it'll be slightly more attrition-y than that. And I would guess a 3-0 or 2-0. Not quite as one-sided.
Fair enough. Matt, do you have a scoreline?
I'll guess 3-0. I don't think 4, just because I think the nature of, obviously they didn't work out super well versus Richie last week with all of his hazards because everything was immune to those hazards. But I think just the nature of, like, there will be enough hazards and enough switches, like, at least a couple of things will go down.
Fair.
Yeah, just so that I make a real choice, I'll say 2-0 for the sake of it. And so that we're all different from each other.
Awesome. And then finally, we have the Chicago Grambles taking on the Hollywood Haluchas. I think, Akash, see, the thing about Akash is he used to be a very good battler and a pretty avid battler, but he's sort of, outside of the IPL, he hasn't battled. And I don't think he's quite back to where he was in terms of team building or battling. And I think, Jared is creative enough.
Yeah, and just mysteriously good at battling.
Right. So I think he'll be able to come on top. I'm going to take him in a 4-0 victory.
This is where I'll say 4-0 as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I can largely agree with that. I don't see, I don't know. Jared's very good a battler, and I think just the team comp looking at it, I think that Jared's going to go. I'll say 5-0. I think it's going to be.
Wow.
It's going to be a tough one for. It's going to be a tough one for Akash.
Wow. Nice. All right. Well, good stuff, guys. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I should be more prepared for these, but
kill leaders update.
Oh yeah, we can do that. You're right. Thank you, Richie. This is why this is why you're here. So let's talk about the top. Okay. So in first place, I guess we have Obstagoon of the Bayern Munchlax with 7 kills and 1 death with a differential of 6. In second place, we have Necrozma with 6 kills coming from 1 match and 1 death with a differential of 5. And then tied in third place with 4 kills and 1 death are both Zero Aura and Ice Cube, with Primarina, Dermanitan, and Hippowdon following with 3 kills each. And then finally, we have a bunch of Mons with 2 kills. So
like a lot of them. That first and second place is going to get shaken up one way or another this week. So
that's true.
You're not wrong.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
That's true. I think Zero Aura. I feel like Zero Aura could get like 4 or 5 kills this week.
Zero Aura is one that we can expect to just reliably, steadily climb up in kills.
Right.
Whereas with Necrozma, I'm not as sure about Obstagoon. Obstagoon's pretty solid. Necrozma is very swingy, where obviously, it has 6 kills. All of those came from this past week. So.
Yeah, but if he goes 2 weeks with 0 and then gets another 6, he has 12 in 5 weeks.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. I think Zero Aura. From my money, I think Zero Aura is going to finish with the top. And then I think Necrozma. I mean, Necrozma and Obstagoon already have so many kills that like.
You just have a little more faith in your Ice Cube.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I would love for it to get more kills. But I think Primarina is one that really could shoot up, and Aegislash is also sitting at 2. I would expect that to get back on form pretty soon.
Yeah.
So.
There's not a single thing on my team that I really expect to break this chart.
I mean, but that's not a bad thing. Like,
no, I'm pretty satisfied with the kind of sneaky way that my team has been wearing down teams so far.
Yeah, I don't know if it's sneaky.
Okay, it's even keeled at least.
Yeah, it's definitely annoying. Well, I imagine it will be. We'll see tomorrow.
Yeah. Just annoying to me, Hall. Necrozma's annoying. the way that Richie plays is annoying.
The way
It's a big
that
fix, but still.
Playing Pokemon is annoying. This sucks.
I mean, yeah, it is. No, it's not the way Richie plays. I mean, he's not always played like that, but his, by annoying, I mean, very shrewdly assembled.
I understand you don't like me. It's okay. I can handle it.
I love you, Richie. You know that.
Thank you, Nihal.
All right. I think we've only met each other once in person, but
Were you at?
I was at the draft.
You were at the draft that one time. Were you at Steven's 21st at any point?
No, I don't think so.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
That was the worst night of my life. Anyway.
Oh shoot. Well,
not actually.
I'll have to hear about this later.
But by worst, I just mean drunk.
I understood.
It was embarrassing.
We've all been
A
there,
lot
man.
of shenanigans happened at that apartment. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that was the first time. That was the first and only time that I have done a drunk teleport to the bar as well as from the bar.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
It was a rough year in that apartment. Just lots of things happened. Lots of fun things, but also lots of less fun things. Jared puking next to his bed was a fun one. In carpeted rooms.
Oh my gosh.
But it's okay. We're all adults now. It's just that
We
we're
are.
still playing Pokemon.
I think we were adults then too, but I remember 2 years ago I went to is it called the Eagle, right by Union on High Street.
Yes.
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 Yeah,
The fried chicken restaurant.
yeah. So I went there and I spent like $100 on scotch,
Mm-hmm.
and well, it was like $98, and I was so drunk that I was like, oh my god, if I tip this guy $2, it'll be $100. So I'm just gonna tip this guy $2.
That's
And then
miserable.
I felt awful, so
Uh,
I went back the next week and gave him like a $30 bill, or
that's-
$30, not a $30
Yeah, of
bill.
course, yeah.
So yeah.
To not only get drunk, like actually drunk off of scotch, but to do so by buying it.
Oh, I was drunk. I was drunk before I got to that bar, Richie. It was my friend's 21st, so
Okay, I mean that's good.
you've been there. You were just talking about it.
Yes.
Nothing tops that food place. There's a food truck that was from the walk to High Street back to that apartment. There's a food truck that was open till like 3 a.m. and had like triple decker grilled cheeses, and burgers, and all that stuff. It was like the best place ever.
Damn, I miss Columbus.
Right?
I miss it too. I mean,
Yeah, Granville doesn't count.
yeah,
It's Columbus.
Yeah, I'm close.
Yeah, trust me, I went to Denison for 2 years. I know all about Granville.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to walk places. Walking places was way better than Ubering everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go
I
ahead.
can still walk places here, but there are 4 of them instead of.
Yeah, you can walk. You can walk to Broadway, and then you can walk to, Taco Dan's. Yep. Have you been to Palumbo's yet? That place is good.
Been to what?
Palumbo's.
I have not.
So
Where is that?
it's right off of River Road by like that River Road Coffee. So right
Okay.
right before you get on the freeway, driving down,
Mm-hmm.
and right you take a left, and there's a couple restaurants there. There's
Okay, yeah. I haven't been down there yet.
yeah, Joe and Mimi's too is down there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go check those places out. This is great IPL Weekly content,
Yeah,
guys.
it's really good. We're doing a really good job. We're doing a really good job
Listen.
succinctly recapping the last week of action. Listen,
Listen, you
if
come
the,
for the Pokemon and you stay for the camaraderie.
That's
they're
true.
gonna get they're gonna get invested in the teams when they learn that the coach got drunker than he's ever been at one of the other coaches' 21st birthday parties. They're gonna care now. When Steven and I battle eventually, there's gonna be tension there.
You know what I just realized? This is the first season where, all of our teams have represented real places
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there have always been multiple teams coming from Columbus, so people had to get a little bit more creative.
Now there's no
Jared-
teams.
Jared, of course, naming his team after his hometown of Hollywood, Maryland. and I didn't want to be.
I did not realize that's what that was.
It is. That is what that is. Yeah, and I didn't want to be boring and be the Columbus something, so I was always the Beach City Corefish after the fictional location of the show Steven Universe. But
True.
then I moved to Granville, and Goomy is a good Pokemon.
You should have been the Licking County Lickitongues.
Oh, that's pretty excellent.
Next year.
Yeah.
Next year. All right. I think we're gonna wrap it up. Make sure you guys check out the document below so you can watch all the replays. The replays will have been playing while we were talking about it, but if you want to see any future replays and whatnot, the doc has everything for you guys. But we're gonna get out of here. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week for IPL Weekly.